Hello traders, David here from Apex Alpha Wave Trader. This is an analysis of the dollar index and I'm currently on the weekly chart. I want you to see how for the past month or so the dollar index appears to be in a range hovering between this level of resistance here and this area of support. So this is where our focus should be right now. Okay, I've been analyzing this for the past couple of weeks now, so not going to the monthly chart does not change what's going on. Okay, so until we break out of this range, we have to focus on this region here, and I'm just going to mark that here on the weekly chart like so. This is the highest level here, this is the highest level here. So this is where our focus will be. Okay, each of these candles takes a week to form, or took a week to form rather. So now we are getting into the second week of May, and we want to see what the markets have for us. So this is the daily chart here, and you can see we've been in a range or a channel. Okay, so eventually we're going to break out of this channel, going up or going down, but for now this is where we are. What I want you to pay attention to is the fact that for every time that the market bounces off of a region of support or resistance, you see that a candle reversal pattern shows up there. Here it was railway tracks, here it was a spinning top, here it's railway tracks, here inverted hammer, um, and a hammer here, proper hammer, then a hammer slash spinning top here, and here we have railway tracks again. So because this is a daily chart, whenever you see these reversal candles, you can always trade in the direction that they are pointing to. So now we have this indication that the market is about to reverse again. It could not quite get to this initial area of resistance here. So we are going to go with what the market is saying. Okay, so once you understand what the dollar index is telling you, you can now go to your major pairs and begin to look for tradable setups. And this is what I'm trying to show you guys, that trading the forex does not have to be complicated. You can make it simple and you can actually make it easy for yourselves. You just need to understand very well the system that you are using, and once you understand the system you are using, then just make sure you understand things like support and resistance, you know about the candlestick patterns, and you are good to go. So going down to the 4-hour chart now on the dollar index, you can see here this is what's going on right now. For me, I trade tops and bottoms most of the time. Okay, I trade divergence as well, because the divergence is usually a precursor to a bottom or a top. So right now what I'm seeing here, this is an incidence of negative divergence here. Okay, and that has pushed the market down and created a top. So if I'm going to consider trading any pair connected with the dollar, something like the USD CHF, that means I'll be looking to sell. USD CAD, probably opportunities to sell. USD JPY, opportunities to sell. And if I'm trading the pairs that the US dollar is paired to, like GBP USD, AUD USD, New Zealand USD, Euro USD, then I will be thinking of buying. Okay, and I'm going to show that to you now. So now that we are done with the dollar index, I'm going to go to the other pairs and we shall see what they offer us. Now this is the USD CHF currency pair. So because I've already analyzed the dollar index, okay, we're just going to start this pair from the daily point of view, because the correlation between the USD CHF and the dollar index is actually quite strong. And you can see here, if I'll just make the chart bigger, you can see here that it's aping what the dollar index is doing. So here we have a very legitimate hammer here, and so we know that the market is going down for now. So that means that for this new week that we are going into, your focus is taking this trade and hanging on to this region. So that means that you are looking at probably about 101 pip. Okay, just to make it fair, let's just say you are aiming for about 80 to 90 pips from this trade on the USD CHF. So let's go to the 4-hour chart and see what we see. So on the 4-hour chart, this is what's going on. Now remember that for the Apex Alpha Wave Trader setup, we need the MACD and we need these EMAs. Well, you don't really need them, but if you are not used to the system, you need them to give you the exact entry points. So in order for us to take a trade to the downside here, you need to have a dead cross on the EMAs, which we have here. And this arrow also points to the fact that there is a dead cross there. And then we have a cross on the MACD. So these are all the parameters. And we also have a wave top situation, with here being the number 1 point. Okay. This region here number 2, and this place as number 3. So because I have a profit target calculator, so if I plot my profit target calculator like so, okay, that means that I have another calculation on here. One moment, just delete that, and we are good to go. All right, let's try that again. So with here being the number 1 point, this point being the number 2, that is here, you can see that we have price targets pushing us down to this level. Okay, so now before the markets open by Monday, you get yourself ready to find the exact entry point. Now you have price targets pushing up to this, pushing down to this level. Obviously, you are not going to consider anything beyond target 3 for now, because you can see that right now we are still respecting this area of support. I think I should have marked that from the weekly chart first, so I think I'm just going to do that now. So I'll mark the regions that the market is respecting for now for support and resistance. Alright, so if I go back to the 4-hour chart now, you are going to see it a bit more clearer. So you can see that these areas that I marked here, this marks the area of resistance and this marks the area of support. So logically speaking, it makes sense to take your profit somewhere in this region. Okay, I'm not going to think of taking my profit exactly here, because based on what the market is doing now, I can see that it's beginning to constrict. So the best target to take here will be target 3, which is still reasonable, because target 3 to where we are currently is still about 90 pips. Okay, so how are you going to get into this trade? Obviously, you can see that you are going to sell this. Okay, it's a done deal that this is a sell trade, but you need to go lower to find a good entry point. Okay, so this is what the market is doing currently on the 1-hour chart. And now if you wanted to take this trade, okay, for this particular instance, I will recommend looking for an entry once the market turns around. Okay, so you could go lower, probably to the 15-minute, to wait for the entry, and I'm just going to go there to show you. So okay, now personally I will wait on the 1-hour chart, but if you were not so certain of yourself, you could wait on the 15-minute chart. And what are you waiting for? When the markets open, we expect to see a wave top situation going down, and then we expect to see a dead cross here and a dead cross on the EMA. So when you get that, something like this, okay, you see that there's a dead cross here and this arrow signifies that, there's a dead cross here and the arrow signifies that, or here as well. So you are looking for a situation like that somewhere in this region. Okay, so between here and here, maybe the market is going to give you an indication to go short. So when you get that indication, you go short. Okay, and your profit target is going to be in this region. You can, of course, you can take the first or second or even the third, and if you are brave enough, you can hang on all the way to this point. Okay, but I don't advise that. I recommend you get out at the third level. All right, so this is a perfect trade for you not to miss. Okay, and it's on the USD CHF. So I'm just going to go to the next currency pair now. Remember, I'm just going to analyze the major currencies against the dollar index. We already know that the dollar index is telling us, and I'm just going to show you that again. So this is the dollar index, right? You can see that the dollar index is telling us that prices might be going down on the dollar. So if we want to look at, let's see, okay, let's look at the GBP USD. So that means that we are looking for buying positions, and you can see straight away on the 4-hour chart we already have a wave bottom situation, but I'm just going to analyze it again. So let's go to the weekly so we can find the areas of support and resistance. So I come here and I mark the most logical areas of support and resistance that pertains to us right now. Okay, and then going down to the daily time frame again, you can see the same thing that has been going on with the dollar index is happening here, but in an invert manner. Okay, or an inverse manner. So you can see here we have a spinning top bouncing off of this level of support, and a spinning top is also a reversal candlestick, so we know that prices are going up. So technically speaking, this trade, if I were to take it not just from the tip here but probably from here to where we are right now is about 185 pips. So this one gives you much better clout than USD CHF. Okay, so let's go to the 4-hour chart and have a look. And you can see instantly on the 4-hour chart we already have a wave bottom situation. Okay, so for those of you who are not familiar with what I'm talking about, we count waves based on Elliott waves. So this is the first wave, second, I believe that the market is just about to begin the third. Now there's a possibility that this market will come down as low as this region before it resumes, but that's not a problem, because the best way to get into this trade is to go lower and look for the ideal entry. So this is the 1-hour chart. And on the 1-hour chart, you can see we have an incidence of positive divergence here, which is always a precursor to a wave bottom situation. And this is why I call here the number 1 point, here the number 2, here the number 3, and the market has started the upward move. So what we're encountering now is a retracement, which brought us to this area here, which is also acting as good support. So to take this trade, you can wait here on the 1-hour chart. It's not a problem, but I think for the GBP, going to the 15-minute will help you, because you can instantly see that here the MACD gave us a dead cross going down, the EMAs gave us a dead cross. So what you are going to wait for when the markets open is for a golden cross going up. Okay, and a golden cross here. Now when I refer to dead cross and golden cross, it's just expressions that traders use. When the EMA is cross this way heading down, we call it a dead cross. Same thing for the MACD. And when the EMA is cross going up, just like here, like so, we call it a golden cross. Same thing for the MACD. Okay, so you have to get used to these terminologies that I use. So we are waiting for a golden cross here on the MACD, the MACD, and golden cross here on the EMAs. Most likely we are going to get another minor wave bottom situation. Okay, so if I were to go to the 1-hour chart and plot my Apex Alpha calculator here, so with here being the number 1 point, I take it right up to this point as my number 2 point, and you can see price target. So if I go to the 4-hour chart now, you can see this is where the market halted the last time, exactly at target 4. So for the pound, you can actually take your profit target anywhere here comfortably. I'm not saying you cannot take it around this region, but I'm telling you the one that if you take it, you will be assured of being filled. From the third target to where we are currently, it's about 142 pips. And if the market were to go down a little bit before you got in, you probably get about 162 or 160 pips. Okay, so I believe 142 pips is a very good trade you can get in a week. Even if that's the only trade you make in 1 week, I believe it's more than enough to satisfy anyone. So this is also another wonderful trade I'm setting up for you guys, and this is on the GBP USD. So once the markets open, I recommend going maybe to the 15-minute chart and waiting for the markets to give you a turnaround, and you can go in, and your stop loss will be very minor. If you get in somewhere around there, your stop is going to be probably here. So your stop will probably not be more than 16 pips, okay, and you will not be stopped out, barring any unfortunate circumstance happening. So that's the GBP USD. So let's go to the next currency pair here. I'm going to go to the 1-week chart now, and then we are going to find the other pairs. So let's take Euro USD. Now the Euro USD and the GBP, they act almost together in tandem, and the Euro USD acts exactly the same but opposite as the dollar index. So if the dollar index is going down, we can expect the euro to go up. I'm just going to use here because this place seems to have more shadows close to the area of support. Okay, so we'll go to the daily chart here, and you can see it's the same story. Okay, the same story. Here we have railway tracks, and of course railway tracks are a reversal pattern. You can see here railway tracks price went up, railway tracks price came down, railway tracks price came down, railway tracks price came down. So now that we have railway tracks here, you don't have to think too much. Prices are going up. Now this is a ranging market, okay, so it's simple enough to understand. I hope that you understand. So going to the 4-hour chart now, we are looking at this now. You can see the same scenario going on here as the GBP USD. We have our golden cross on the MACD, and it seems that we just got the golden cross on the EMAs here just before the markets closed on Friday. Okay, so if you wanted to get into this trade, you go down to the 1 hour chart. Remember, you go down to the lower time frames to look for the ideal entry. Okay, but take your trading decisions mostly from the daily and 4 hour charts so that you can get good trading opportunities. Now you can see here, I can show you a lot of things on this chart. First of all, we have an inverted head and shoulders pattern. For those of you who know about chart patterns, this is a left shoulder, this place being the head, and this is the right shoulder. Okay, so if you know about inverted head and shoulders, then you know that if you wanted to project how our price will go, you take it from the top of the head to where the shoulders are, and you can see that this is 109 pips. So that means if you were to project 109 pips from here up, that is how far prices are going to go. But for us, that's not a problem because we actually have a calculator. Now, we have a positive divergence situation here, and for every positive divergence situation, usually you get a very good wave bottom situation. So this is my number 1 point here, this is number 2, and this level here or here can be number 3. I only need 2 points to plot the apex alpha calculator. So I'm just going to plot it from the number 1 here to the number 2 point, and you can see our price targets going up there. Now, if I take you to the 4-hour chart, you can see that for this particular one, the fourth target is still below our level of resistance. So we can safely say it's possible for us to hang on to this trade up to the fourth target. From the fourth target to where we are currently is about 160 pips. So this is also another good trade for you to consider. Okay, you are not required to hold on all the way there, but if you are interested in a big trade, then that is for you. For this particular trade, you get in here once the market changes direction. Okay, so when we get a golden cross on the MACD, for the Euro USD, you don't necessarily have to go to the 15-minute chart. You can wait here on the 1-hour chart. What you are waiting for is to get a golden cross on the MACD. You might or might not get a golden cross on the EMAs, but you might get what I call a bounce, just like here. It will not quite touch the 21 EMA. The 5 EMA will not quite touch the 21. It will just bounce off of it. That still counts as a golden cross. Okay, and then we have another small incidence of positive divergence here. So that means that we can call here number 1 and this is number 2. So we are waiting for the number 3 here to commence. So once the markets open and the market prices begin to go up, you can get into this trade, and your stop loss, you can place it here, or if you want to be sure of yourself, you can place it here. So from here to that place might be about 36 pips or something, which is still not bad considering how much you are going to make. If you take your price targets from here even up to the second level here, you are still going to get about 86 pips, 87 pips. So this is a very, very good trade, and I do not want you guys to miss it. All right, so let's have a look at the other currencies that constitute the major pairs. Let's look at USD/JPY and see what it's telling us. I'm going to go to the weekly chart here, and then for the USD/JPY, currently the yen seems to be very strong against the dollar. So this is what is going on here. For this, because it's not the same as the dollar index for now, let's go to the monthly chart and have a look. So let's analyze this from the monthly chart. Okay, MACD is telling us nothing. It has neutralized, so the markets are quiet as far as MACD is concerned on the monthly chart. This is a fourth wave of some sort. You can see here wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this makes a bigger wave of this can actually be constituted as one, and then we are in another second wave. Okay, so here where the market is currently seems to be a very strong area of support on the monthly chart. So if I go down to the weekly chart and we'll have a look again, and you can see, so you can see that we are at a region or close to a region of extreme support. Okay, so I'm going to mark that area because if you look closely from here, we have an area of support here. Okay, and where the market is currently, it looks like we still have power to go down a ways. So I'm just going to mark that level for support, and I'll mark the top of the candle we are at right now as our present resistance, just so that we have a focus. Okay, so let's go down to the daily chart, and this is what's happening for us right now. So on the daily chart, you can see that the market bounced off of this region here, which is probably a minor area of support. So overall trend is still down on the USD JPY, but right now we seem to be in a rally. So if we go to the 4-hour chart, this is what's going on. So for the 4-hour chart now, you can see we have positive divergence situation here, and we have a beautiful wave bottom situation. Okay, so for the USD JPY, the only thing I can say is we have to wait for the price to probably get to this region here of support, and then we get an opportunity to sell again. So this trade from here to that area is about 33 pips. So it's not worth trying to get in for a buy, but you can actually wait for a turnaround. So what you are waiting for is for the MACD and the EMAs to give you a death cross, and for you to get a wave top situation somewhere here. So when you get a wave top situation, a 1 2 3 top as it were, you get a death cross on the MACD, you get death cross on the EMAs, then you are going to take this trade to the short side. Okay, so this particular one seems to be working slightly different compared to what the dollar index is saying. But you see, when you want to trade, you trade with what the market is telling you. So this is what the USD JPY seems to be telling us for now. The yen is very strong against the dollar. So we are just going to go to the next currency pair now. So for now, I believe for me, I will just watch and wait. I'm not going to take any trade on the USD JPY. Okay, I'm only taking trades based on what the dollar index is saying, and because this one is going against what the dollar index is saying, I prefer to leave it out. Let's look at USD CAD and see what it's saying. So if I go to the weekly chart for the USD CAD, and we are in a fourth wave right now, so there's still the possibility of this market coming down probably to these regions here of support. So I'm just going to mark, let's see, I believe this region is good enough for resistance, and this level here for support. Okay, let's go to the daily chart and have a look. So you can see we are still range bound. Okay, so right now the USD CAD mirrors the dollar index, but it seems to go a little bit faster. But you can see that this one has already started going down very steeply as compared to what the dollar index is doing. So we are in a downtrend, but we are looking at this level to halt price. Okay, it's possible that the price may be able to punch through, but we have to get to this level first before we decide that. So if we go to the 4-hour chart, this is what's happening. You can see here we had this is actually negative divergence, and then we had a wave top situation here that pushed the market up. So we can call here wave 1 2 3. So now we are in a fourth wave, so we have one more leg before we get to this level. So the USD CAD, for me, I will pass over it because it's already exhausted itself. From where we are to the support area is about 76 pips. So there's still some pips to be had here for a day trade. Okay, but compared to what the USD CHF or the Euro and the GBP are going to give you, I think that you may want to pay attention to those ones. But still, let's analyze it further. This is what's going on. So we are in a fourth wave right now. Okay, so how are you going to get into this trade? Well, you see what's going on here. You are going to wait for a dead cross on the MACD, and then you won't get a cross. Most likely you are not going to get a cross of the EMA, so you are waiting for a dead cross. But let me see if I go lower to the 15-minute. Let's see what the charts are saying. You can see what's happening here. So for this particular one, you are waiting for a wave top situation. I believe the 1-hour chart or maybe even the 30-minute might be better for the USD CAD. Let's see. I don't know. The computer seems to be stuck. Give me a moment. Okay, so this is the 30-minute chart. Okay, and you can see it's telling you the same thing. The market is neutralizing now. MACD is neutralizing, so we are waiting for one more push down. So I believe that for the USD CAD, it's better you wait on the 1-hour chart to see what's going to happen. Okay, so most likely we are going to get one more final leg to the downside, which is good for between, let's just call it 70 pips. So it's not so bad for a day trade as well. All right, so I'm going to go to the next currency pair here. Let's see here. Let's look at the AUD USD against, I'm basing everything against the dollar index right now. So this is the weekly chart for AUD USD, and I'm just going to mark this level as my most current level of resistance just because of this hammer here. and I will mark here. Okay, so here we have a golden cross going on the MACD. So this chart or this currency pair may have the power to still push up a ways, okay, at least maybe up to this level or even higher. But let's concentrate on what the weekly charts are telling us. So going down to the daily chart here, this is what's happening right now. Okay, so you can see that we bounced off of this region of support here, and we are pushing up strongly to where this area of resistance is. So for the AUD, we are looking at maybe 46 pips before price gets to this level. Okay, so for me personally, I decided to pass over it because I don't know if it has the power to punch through this area of support when the markets open. Of course, eventually it may, but right now you can see it created the wave bottom situation here. It has created three waves, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so and when you are trading, usually you try to get the third wave. So this third wave is just about expanded. So what we're expecting is a fourth wave to commence and then probably the fifth wave. So for this week, I'll be watching the AUD, but I'll not be watching it actively to trade it, okay? Because we seem to be getting into a sort of fourth wave, okay? So I'm not going to consider really trading the AUD right now. Now, let's quickly go to the next one, which is New Zealand USD. Okay, and I'm going to have to stop my analysis there because the video is quite long now. So going to the weekly chart, you can see what's going on here. I will just delete this line and let's see what we see. All right, so I believe that this is almost acting the same way the AUD is acting. Okay, we'll just mark here and here tentatively, go to the daily chart and have a look. And you can see that we've been going up progressively in a diagonal channel. So eventually we are going to turn around and head down. So that means we're in a fourth wave right now. Okay, but right now this is what we see on the daily chart. Prices bounced off of this level, created railway tracks, and are heading up. So we have to pay attention to these levels of support and resistance. So until we get to this level, we are not going to be certain if the price has the power to push above. Okay, so if I go to the 4-hour chart, this is what's happening. Just like the AUD here, it gave us positive divergence, and then it gave us a wave bottom situation here. So this is first wave, second wave, third wave. So that means that we are hesitating or about to start a fourth wave. Okay, so from here to the top of the area of resistance is just about 42 pips. So for me, I'm not going to waste my time on this. Okay, so I'm going to stop my analysis here. I believe that you have enough ammunition to decide on what to do. And even if you do not want to trade any of the major pairs, you can just analyze any other currency pair the way I've shown you. Start from the monthly, go to the weekly, plot your levels of support and resistance, and begin to analyze based on what the candle formations are telling you from the daily chart. And when you get to the 4-hour and the 1-hour chart, you begin to look for incidences of positive or negative divergence. You look for incidences of wave tops and wave bottoms, and I assure you, your trading will get much more easier. So I hope that this was beneficial for you. I wish you happy trading and thank you for listening and watching.